I don't have the exact number. It will say that the amount of volume or time saved, but I can tell you we all have seen it and it's been very significant, just the amount that we have been able to produce amount of content. I know with some numbers, we did have a 12% increase in our LinkedIn following, which we're really excited about because honestly, getting any following engagement and some healthcare by privacy and compliance and those professionals can be very hard. But even bigger, we saw an increase of 45% in our website traffic when we were doing persona-specific content. Now, that was tied with our an SEO strategy we had going on as well, but we were using those SEO terms in Jasper. So I have to give it some credit that it did have an impact on our website traffic. And we also saw an increase in our time on site. And so on each page, a lot of people were diving more into the content than they were before.
Mike's got the hat, the AI kind. Unlocking power in business you'll find. Cut through the hype, explore the tech. Every week, new ideas to check. All 10 leads us on a digital quest. AI secrets he'll always invest. Tune in tight, don't miss a beat. Knowledge groove, keep you on your feet. Listen up to the AI flow. Business growth, here we go. Cutting edge insights, that's the plan. With the AI hat, you'll understand.
Greetings, program. Welcome back to the AI Hat Podcast, where I selfishly use this time to pick the brains of experts at harnessing the power of AI across all areas of business, from streamlining operations and boosting productivity to gaining a competitive edge and driving explosive growth. Oh, and you get to learn too. Subscribe to be shown how to prepare yourself and your brand for this AI revolution and come out ahead. Now, picture this scenario. Have you ever looked at your content creation process and thought, there has to be a better way? Maybe you're drowning in content requests or struggling to maintain consistency across channels or simply feeling overwhelmed by the constant demand for fresh, engaging content. And if this sounds familiar, you're not alone. These were exactly the challenges facing our guests today. The pressure to create more high quality content while maintaining compliance standards in the healthcare tech industry. That seemed like an impossible balance to strike. The traditional approach wasn't just time consuming, it was becoming unsustainable. But what if I told you there was a way to not just meet those demands, but exceed them? A way to scale your content operations while actually improving quality and consistency? Today, we're joined by Brianna Miller, Director of Marketing at Protenus, the leading healthcare compliance analytics platform. She's also a longtime friend and colleague of mine here in St. Louis, and Brianna is going to share how she's transformed her team's content operations using AI, specifically through the implementation of Jasper AI. As an accomplished digital marketing leader and frequent contributor to MarTech, Brianna brings a wealth of practical experience in both the healthcare technology sector and cutting-edge marketing techniques. Hey, Brianna, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So glad to have this opportunity to chat with you and literally pick your brain. But before we dive into your AI journey, could you paint a picture of what the process of content creation looked like before you started to implement AI at Protenus, and what are some of the specific challenges that you were facing?
Yes. So I think like most content creators, especially in B2B and those that are in a bit more of a regulated space, it is a very manual and time consuming process. You're relying a lot on subject matter experts that have very technical specialties to contribute to some of this content. And sometimes because of that, we would run into bottlenecks that would make it difficult to launch the amount of content that we really wanted or needed. And then additionally, um, unless we just had a single content creator that was controlling all of the tone and the messaging, otherwise it was hard to control that. If everybody on the team or multiple people wanted to be involved, making sure that everything had the exact same tone and messaging was difficult. So definitely it was time consuming and consistency can sometimes be difficult.
Got it. And For the benefit of our listeners who aren't familiar with your organization, could you share a little bit more about the actual work that you guys do?
Yeah. So at Portinus, we have two products: patient privacy monitoring and drug diversion monitoring. And what I like to say is we make sure that people aren't looking at patient records that they're not supposed to, and drugs get to where they're supposed to. Is the easiest way to explain it to anybody. So we are targeting healthcare systems and hospitals, and a lot of different players at those. The buying cycle is very long. It can be over a year. There's a 8 to 10 key decision makers across privacy, compliance, pharmacy, IT, CFOs. There's a lot of people that are concerned with this purchase, and they all have different worries. So we have to create content that is speaking to all of them. And some like webinars, some like blog posts, one pagers, case studies, a bunch are on LinkedIn. So we have a bunch of moving parts at any given moment, and content is really key to everything when it comes to that.
That makes a lot of sense. So what made you turn to AI and decide to actually start to explore it as a solution? Was it like a specific breaking point or like this moment of realization?
So I want to say, I think when I was thinking about this, my first AI discussions definitely happened back more in like late 2023 in regards to talking about it with fellow B2B marketers about what tools they were looking at. And then I went to the HubSpot Inbound conference, and I had heard about some of the vendors there, but I also checked out Jasper and learned a bit more about them and started to look into them more. So then when we got into our 2024 planning at the end of 2023, we realized the amount of things that we needed to do with our marketing campaigns and our new strategies, that we really needed something that was going to help us grow our marketing team and our marketing campaigns and really just do a lot more with the skill sets that we also had on the team. So that's when we started looking, like I said, at Jasper AI, and I really found that it was a great tool for our team.
Love that. First, I love going to conferences for that purpose to like check out the other vendors and listen to the tools that other people are using. It really
Mhm,
shortens that research phase, right? Plus, you get some
mhm,
FaceTime with some folks who might be able to give it to you a little more straighter. And I love that you guys are using Jasper. I definitely want to dig into that because
mhm,
we've mentioned it a couple times previous on the show, but we haven't really dug into what it does. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we do that, I know a lot of leaders in regulated industries like healthcare or finance. They're hesitant, I think, about using AI. Were there initial concerns that you or your team had in implementing AI as part of your content creation process?
Yes. So across the board, the company was very concerned about integrating AI into all the different departments because we're a compliance company. We want to make sure that we are
Yeah.
always compliant for not just our customers, but ourselves as well. So there was a lot of concern when everything rose up with Chat GPT and everything. So we knew that we were going to need a solution that was going to be more compliant and secure. And that's where we came across again Jasper, because they have a lot more compliance in their tool. It's only using the information that you upload into it to learn your product, your brand, your messaging. It's not just scraping the internet for anything to add in and learn from. So it really allowed us to be cautious with how we got started with AI, and it made our IT and compliance teams very happy as well because they had those features.
That is a great distinction between just simply using like a custom GPT for ChatGPT or a gem for Gemini, because you could do that. You can train those models on your business, your industry, your target audience, even your goals and objectives. I talk about doing that all the time for
Mhm,
myself. But unless you also know what you're doing in terms of keeping that in a sandbox, you aren't controlling the flow of data and the conversations that you have with ChatGPT could be used to train the next model of ChatGPT, and that is definitely a compliance a concern. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's
mhm,
by default turned on basically within Jasper. You're in this
mhm,
private system. So walk us through how you implemented Jasper. What was the approach and the rollout? What did that look like? Were there steps that you guys took to ensure
mhm.
success?
Yes, so like any, I think, marketing team, when you're adding a new tool, you're excited, but you're also cautious. So we stepped into it
Yeah.
slowly. We started with small things like working on some of our email marketing and our social posts. But really, before we could do anything, we needed to train Jasper. So we were uploading all of our current resources, one pagers, case studies, our existing website, anything we could think of to train Jasper on our tools and our messaging and how to talk about patient privacy monitoring and drug diversion monitoring, which are not super common topics. So we had to train the tool and then make sure that we had our setting our brand voice very clearly. And I like that about Jasper. We have a couple different brand voices. We have a little bit more formal one for our one pagers and case studies, and a more lighthearted one for social media and some of our emails, so that it's still the same consistency, but just a little bit of a lighter tone. But then we started rolling it out and we rolled it out to the full team. We didn't keep it within like just the person who was writing the email marketing or anything like that. So the whole team had access and was really excited. We did training sessions internally and then with Jasper's team. And then right after we actually implemented them, they launched their certification program. And so we all decided that we were all going to become Jasper certified as well, which I really enjoyed and learned a lot about the tool, even beyond what I learned in their initial trainings. And so that way we could all start using it. And it went from just like emails and social to helping with our big industry reports, our blog posts, our case studies, and just helping create strategies when you're at that creative block and you just need a little help to get going.
All of this, and this is so fascinating to me because I've used Jasper before, but it's been a long time. I actually
Mhm,
used it before they were Jasper when they were conversion.ai,
mhm,
and the process was very different
mhm,
back then. You weren't training the model about your business. You were saying, "Give me a social post in the voice of Gary Vaynerchuk," or something like
mhm,
that. So obviously they've come a long way. Could you share some
mhm.
specific examples of how your content creation process has changed or how it works now? Maybe like walk us through a piece of content before and after AI.
Yes. So the nice thing with, using an AI tool like Jasper is it speeds up the content creation process a lot. So previously we needed to rely heavily on a lot of our subject matter experts in patient privacy or drug diversion to help us write some of our blog posts or more technical content. And now we were able to use maybe just some initial thoughts from them or past content to help us build new content. So it moved a lot faster. We could move to more of a review process with our subject matter experts where they reviewed the blog post and added a few pieces of feedback versus having to wait on them to do the whole thing from that point forward. It also made just launching things a lot faster. So we were able to create content, but then create the supporting pieces really fast. And that's one of my favorite things about Jasper is that I can create, a blog post and then I tell it, all right, now I need a marketing email. I need a template for our BDRs and our sales team. I need 3 LinkedIn posts and a tweet. And I want them to do like a pop up on the website or a landing page content, whatever. It can use what we've trained it on, but also the new content that we just created with it to create all of that really quickly. So with our content creation process before took quite a while and now it has just sped up exponentially.
That's awesome. Folks listening know I'm a big fan of using the native LLMs like Gemini and ChatGPT. I
Mhm,
use Gemini every single day. But the beauty of using a tool like Jasper is that not only are you training it on your own voice and brand information, it's specifically been trained by the folks at Jasper to know what makes for a good piece of content in all those scenarios that
mhm.
Brianna just talked about. So it's a huge lifesaver. We had a similar conversation with the founder of Hey Levi in a previous episode where that tool is used specifically to make target audience ICPs, your target ICPs, and everything like that. So, folks, we're talking with Brianna Miller about her organization and those like it, particularly in the healthcare industry, and how they can explore AI solutions. And I've got 7 more questions you aren't going to want to miss. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of AI for Business Leaders, the AI Hat podcast, is brought to you by Magi. Tired of juggling multiple AI subscriptions and trying to figure out which tool to use and when? Magi simplifies AI for businesses by offering access to all the leading language models and image and video generators for one low price. With Magi, you can create custom instructions to personalize AI for every business need
and use them across all LLMs, including ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and even DeepSeek. No more building custom GPTs or gems that are limited to just one platform. Magi also lets you create customized workspaces for your entire team, giving everyone in your organization access to the same AI assistants and tools and prompts. Ready to streamline your AI workflow and empower your team? Tap the link in the show notes to visit Magi today to learn more. And now, back to the rest of today's episode.
So, Brianna, your team is creating just sounds like reams of content. They're saving a lot of time creating the same kind of content they used to create, but also apparently giving themselves time to create additional pieces of content. What are some of the measurable results have you seen that since implementing AI that you might be able to share? Any specific metrics or improvements?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of success with it, and definitely, I think just the main one. I don't have the exact number. It will say that the amount of volume or time saved, but I can tell you we all have seen it, and it's been very significant. Just the amount that we have been able to produce, amount of content. I know with some numbers, we did have a 12% increase in our LinkedIn following, which we're really excited about because honestly, getting any following engagement and some
Yeah.
healthcare by privacy and compliance and those professionals can be very hard. But even bigger, we saw an increase of 45% in our website traffic when we were doing persona specific content. Now, that was tied with our an SEO strategy we had going on as well, but we were using those SEO terms in Jasper. So I have to give it some credit that it did have an impact on our website traffic. And we also saw an increase in our time on site. And so on each page, a lot the people were diving more into the content than they were before. But we put out
Pass point is huge.
yes, yeah, a big
Yeah.
increase in time on site, huge increase for direct traffic, a smaller increase for organic. But yeah, definite big increase on time on site. And the content we produce, my team is just like a machine. Like we did like 24 blogs and 16 ABM campaigns and articles and case studies and a bunch of targeted one pagers. And I can't be more proud. Like a proud mom.
That's awesome. Yeah, right. But for anybody listening who's still somewhat skeptical, I don't know
Mhm,
about AI driven content, look at that time on site metric
mhm,
because that's telling you it's not what I think. It's not what you think, Brianna.
mhm,
It's your target audience is reading this content and they're sticking around longer. They're reading more, they're clicking around, and that's helping your SEO.
mhm.
I can't wait. I should revisit you in like 12 months and see what
Yep.
what else has happened. How much more have you guys grown? But you talked
Mhm.
about the team being a machine. Sounds like they've adapted pretty well to using AI. What was their initial reaction versus how they feel about it now?
So, I'm a little skeptical, like most new tools. Is this to take my job is maybe one thing. Is this going to make me less creative? But really, we found that it just really helps streamline us and keep us all on the same track. It really streamlined our tasks and provided more of a solid foundation for us to build upon as we're being creative. And there's things I love like the chat feature in, Jasper. It can help you just it like things like ChatGPT, but you can talk to it, it understands your brand, and it can help you come up with new ideas, and then you go and you build them further within the tool. And then we've started to actually expand it outside of just marketing, which is really exciting. Once everybody's seen the results and they've seen that, like, we can upload persona content, you mentioned something about that just a few minutes ago we're able to upload like our personas and all their information and what their pain points are and their concerns. And it helps tie the content in that way. And you can't get better than that.
Well, I was going to ask you. So first, some follow up questions. How big is your team?
Mhm. So we are 6 people. I can tell
Okay,
you. Yeah.
and about how many employees in the company overall?
I think we were at like 120 is what we were at most recently around here.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
over 100. How has the reception been then outside of marketing? Because you teased that some other people outside of the marketing team are like, hey, that kind of looks pretty cool. I might want in on that. How's that been?
Yes. So we definitely rolled it up marketing first, and then we showed it, and people heard us chatting about it and just talking it up because we really do love it. And then we started to roll it out to our BDR team and sales
Oh,
team members, and that, especially for our BDR team, we're very excited about because there can be a lot of inconsistencies sometime in regards to like
Yeah.
their voice in regards to different messaging. We of course want them to have their personality. These are one-to-one emails, but you also want to make sure there's a brand consistency in the way that we're talking about our products and our specific messaging. So this was going to help a lot and help find just make it sound a little bit better, a little more engaging is really nice. And I think it helps them be creative too on those days when you're just like, did not have any creativity at all today. I need something that helps there. And we've also started rolling it out to our customer success team. And they're really enjoying it in regards to their communications with customers and also our user community because we have a really, really engaged user community.
I love those use cases because for the most part, unlike marketing's one to many, these were
Mhm.
all one to one
Mhm.
approaches. And they're still highly valuable, great use cases for using AI. Because to your point, sometimes I might just not be feeling it, but I still
Mhm.
have to send an email to that
Yep.
prospect or that customer. And I don't want my emotional state, if it's not the greatest, to come
Mhm.
through in a response.
Mhm.
Folks in sales know people can tell if you're smiling whether they can see you or not. It comes through in your voice,
Yeah.
it comes through in your writing. It's so important to have a smile on your face in customer service. And so AI can help with that. And of course, speed up the process. I'll give you time to have an actual active LinkedIn presence as a salesperson. That's incredible, but it's also
Mhm.
one of the things that people leave towards last because they've got phone numbers to call in front of them or emails to outreach to. So I love those examples. Are there some specific features within Jasper that you found the most valuable, particularly from that healthcare tech content need perspective?
So I would say that it would be how specific our content has to be in regards to some of the technical terms. So that has been really, really helpful to be able to train Jasper on that and to be able to have the security and compliance of a tool like that is anybody who works in healthcare knows, even if you're not dealing with patient data, it is all about being secure and compliant no matter what part of healthcare you're in. So that's really, really critical. And then I think one of my favorite features just in regards to training the tool on our personas and our different content is being able to pull lots of metrics about the performance of our product or different metrics from case studies and things like that without having to remember all of them
Yeah.
constantly. We get the question a lot from sales of like, hey, do you have a metric that speaks to ROI for a children's hospital? And it sometimes can be difficult to figure out, okay, which case study, which one's the best one. But I cannot use Jasper's chat tool or I can just put in a prompt into Jasper when writing an email, say like, make sure to include an ROI metric from one of the privacy case studies, and it'll pull information. So it probably is one of my favorite features, though it's hard to pick.
Well, that is yet another huge eye-opening moment, I think, because even someone like me who's familiar with Jasper wasn't really thinking about Jasper like a RAG, a retrieval augmentation generation system, where you've not only loaded it up with your brand voice document and a target audience document, you've loaded, I don't know, tens, maybe hundreds of case studies and other kinds
Mhm,
of examples. And because it is a private enclosed system, like a local LLM, like a
mhm,
llama from Meta that you might install in your own system, if you ask it for metrics and case studies and statistics, it's only going to pull from that data set. Folks, if you're listening,
mhm,
I hope you're understanding where I'm going with that. I will link to an article in the show notes about RAGs. So maybe if this is your first exposure to that term, you'll get it. Notebook LM is another example I've talked about
mhm,
before on the show, where that product from Google, you can load up specific source documents and then you can ask it questions and it's not gonna go to the internet. It's not gonna make stuff up. That's where a lot of the hallucinations that people are afraid of
mhm,
with LLMs come from, where they go out to the internet and they put things together or they find stuff that's not true. But if it's in a document that you've provided, you can
mhm,
rely on that. We built something like that at Agorapulse for our sales staff specifically because they were being asked on calls, "Hey, can the Agorapulse do this?" And it wasn't, "Can it publish to X?" Yes, of course. It was like, "What are the maximum dimensions for an Instagram image that your platform allows?" That kind of
yep,
level of sophistication, because some people that's important to them, and no one is going to remember that kind of data. Like you said, no one's gonna remember a
mhm,
statistic. So we put all of our release notes, all of our product documentation, and then we said, "Well, hey, Let's load up all of our blog posts. Let's load up all of our success stories. So now, just like
Mhm.
you, we can ask our system, hey, do we have any success stories of agencies in France who are larger than 20 employees? And I'll be like,
Mhm.
yeah, here's three in the links. So I love that. That's fantastic. And I hope folks listening again understand that these are just so many terrific features that a tool like Jasper can bring your organization when you take the time to
Mhm.
train the tool, train yourselves. You've got that AI literacy going. I love it. What other advice would you give to any kind of marketing leaders who are listening or healthcare tech leaders? They're still thinking about AI, but maybe they're feeling still a little hesitant about taking the plunge.
So I would say that you would definitely want to try maybe a more sophisticated tool like a Jasper in regards to if you're worried about the concerns that people have with like an open AI like ChatGPT and it's searching the web. A Jasper like tool is just so I want to say comforting for a marketer to know that it's just using what you want and what you've approved for it to use and to learn. And then I would say definitely learn. We're all learning AI. Like people can say they're definitely AI experts, but it's changing every day. So even though you get the tool and you get some trainings, if they offer something like a certification, I would definitely do it. I really enjoyed the Jasper certification. I learned some really good tricks for using the chat, which have made my work a lot better and just some best practices that I didn't even think of before. And I was using the tool on a regular basis. So it was exciting to see how it's learning and growing.
That's a really great distinction between
Mhm.
Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, and the other large language models who are putting out great products, but they're spending like next to no time on training and education. Whereas the specialized tools like Jasper or Salesforce with their AI
Mhm.
capabilities, right? They're obviously investing a lot of time in communication training and documentation. So there's definitely opportunities for folks listening to identify those very specific specialized tools, but also understand that there's probably a lot more training that goes into them. So I appreciate you sharing that. Brianna, just looking ahead, how do you see AI continuing to evolve your content strategy? And what would you say is next on your AI journey?
It's a great question. So I think we want to try to utilize more of the features within Jasper. So it has a ridiculous amount of content types that you can use or content type templates that you can use. So we've used a lot like emails and blogs. We just really started to leverage their campaign feature. So I want to start using that. And what their campaign feature is you have your knowledge base that you've already uploaded things too. But you also, like for a campaign, you would upload like a campaign brief, which it can help you build, but you upload a campaign brief and then you tell it all the pieces of content that you need. So, say for a webinar, I need a webinar abstract, I need a landing page, I need X number of emails, email templates, LinkedIn posts, etc. I need an outline for the presentation and so on. And it can build all of it within like a few minutes, which is terrifying and so exciting. And so we're trying to use that a bit more. Right now we were doing a little bit more like one-off pieces just for I think that sense of control maybe and security. But now I feel so comfortable with the tool that I'm like, "Hey, make me 10 things at once for me to review and take a look over." And then next, our next AI journey, we still are going to be very secure and need to be very compliant. So it'll be interesting which tools we use next. But we've been looking more into the Salesforce and HubSpot's AI tools specifically for things like our prospecting and our lead generation to better understand not just an individual contact and what they're doing on our website or with our content, but at an account-based level because healthcare really, really is very account-based. It's not usually an individual decision maker. So being able to go into HubSpot and ask it, what is hospital A doing on our website with our content? Are they showing enough engagement? That's going to save not just marketing, but our sales team a bunch of times think that would probably be our next tool or step into AI.
So cool. Have you used or looked into any of the integrations that Jasper has?
We have looked into some. We used it a lot we have like the Google Suite and the Office Suite. So we use it all in that and Gmail and all those things. We use just the plugin for Google Chrome. So we're able to automatically use it within the HubSpot tool in our browser. So we really love that. I've used HubSpot's AI tool as well with their writing AI. And it's definitely good too. I just really love the training that I get to do for Jasper on our brand. It's just a little bit more.
Yeah, I love it. We'll definitely link to Jasper, obviously, in the show notes for folks listening who want to dive deeper into what Jasper can do for their organizations. But Brianna, you've been absolutely amazing. For folks who want to learn more about you and the work that your company is doing, where can they go to reach out?
Yes. So I would love to connect with anyone. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Brianna Miller. If you need the URL, it's Brianna Miller, and the E and Miller is a 3 on LinkedIn. You can also find me on my personal website, which is beingyourbrand.com, or check out Pro Tennis. I'm all over the place. So I'd love to connect.
Awesome. Thank you, Brianna. We will definitely have all those links in the show notes. You don't need to remember where to put that 3, folks, but definitely check out Protennis as well if you're in the healthcare industry, because I'm sure there's some magic they can do for you. That's all the time we've got for today, friends. But remember, if this is your first foray into the world of AI and business, I've got the perfect resource for you in the show notes below, the AI primer designed to quickly get you up to speed on the terms, the tactics, and the underlying technology that's powering this AI revolution. Check it out, and I'll see you in our next episode. Welcome to the grid.
That's a wrap on another episode of the AI Hat Podcast. I hope you gained some valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your business with AI. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. And don't forget to visit theaihat.com for more resources and to connect with me. Until next time, keep innovating, and remember, the future of business is human and it's powered by AI.